again, and he's a very good one. Merry Christmas, guys. Let's get started, baby. It's an exciting day to be a Mountaineer fan.
You are Locked On West Virginia, your daily podcast on the West Virginia Mountaineers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, guys? Welcome back in. My name is Mountaineer Paul. I am your host. Welcome back into Locked On West Virginia, baby, where we're talking Mountaineer football again today on this Christmas Day, Junior. We're excited to be doing it, of course, with you here today, where you should be on the best day of the year, right here on Locked On West Virginia. Thank you so much for being here. Like I said, guys, hope you're having a great Christmas wherever you may be. Thanks for making Locked On West Virginia your first listen and for being a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, the #1 sports podcast network in the country, where we talk about your team, the Mountaineers, every single day. When I say every single day, I mean every single day. Every single day, we're here, baby. So even if you don't want me to be here someday, I'm here. Dedicated to it. That's at the end of the day, it's got to be worth something to somebody out there. Obviously I've got things planned with the family, but that's not until 1:00. So I got time to do a video now and then a video later when I get home. Right. And I will do that. So my 2-a-day streak is going strong. West Virginia is going strong as well, being linked to a portal quarterback or, at least somebody that is, well, no, he's Division II, so he's in the portal. But, not your typical D2 guy. We're going to watch some tape on Marcus Stokes, who is absolutely, in my opinion, one of the more talented guys in the portal right now. The more I watch his tape, the more I get excited about him. We're going to talk about that. Also, what about recruiting presence? West Virginia has them, no doubt about it. When you consider the fact that West Virginia had a 39-man class, we're going to continue to unwrap those presents from that class. So we're going to do that too, right here on Locked On West Virginia, as I said earlier. So let's roll, baby. Thank you guys for all the Merry Christmas wishes. It's weird. I've got like 30 comments, but it says there's only 5 people watching. It's got to be some kind of glitch. Maybe it is. Maybe everybody's at Christmas. I don't know. All right. So let's dive straight into this without further ado. Obviously, I struggle with the way some of these articles are written, but basically the Athletic put out an article today predicting every starting quarterback in the country coming up this season. And in this specific case, West Virginia has been linked to Marcus Stokes again, who we just heard a couple of weeks ago has West Virginia on his list of teams to visit. Obviously, we know about the history with him. He was a former Florida guy, Florida Gators guy, 6'2", 215 pounds, out of Nice High School there in 2023, where he had some pretty big-time years there. It didn't work out at Florida, obviously, and he transferred he flipped from Penn State to Florida originally, and then a video surfaced that showed him rapping along to a song using a slur. But it was what the song said. I don't know, man. I don't get into that topic because it's just there's no way I can win with it. But it seems to me like that it's something you shouldn't do, especially it's just something you shouldn't do. I mean, at the end of the day, but I'm not going to comment any further. I'm glad that he is being given a second chance, it looks like. So, okay, let's get to the meat and potatoes of what I think about him personally as far as on the field, right? Because that's really all that matters anyway. He is a dual threat. He's very talented. He's got a ton of arm talent. He has a really competitive edge to him. He really excels in off script plays. He delivers really tight spirals when he throws the football. Not everybody, delivers a tight spiral, believe it or not. And I love what this kid's ball looks like when it comes out of his hand. He is terrific in RPO heavy schemes. He's got really good touch. He throws, really good anticipatory throws. He's got a willingness to take calculated risks down the field too. And then he's got kind of a natural feel for the game too. If he has to paper cut a defense, he can do it. He's got a little bit of all that going on in his game. And in my opinion, is somebody that when you look at his overall ability, it's good, right? I think it's probably let's say if Josh Allen is a 10, this guy's arm talent wise is in that 6.5, 7 range. Very good, right? Josh Allen is as good as it gets, I think, in the league right now. If you look at Andrew Irvin's, what he said about him coming out of high school, he says he's the type of quarterback that isn't afraid to take risks and push the limits. Extremely fast and crafty runner that's more than capable of finding success and moving the chains on design runs, but he thrives as a passer when he's on the move and will squeeze the ball in the tight windows when he escapes pressure. Serves up a rather tight spiral and will use a variety of different arm angles to execute all platform throws. He found instant success in an RPO-heavy spread attack in high school and has the skill set to eventually emerge as a starter on Saturdays, and he has an NFL ceiling, giving his competitive edge and natural feel for the game. Compared him to Kenny Pickett, which is a pretty good comparison for him, I think, considering the mobility. On3 said he's a quick arm passer that can paper cut opponents with his off-schedule athleticism and the ability to nickel and dime throws down the field. There are other people that have things, say now that's when he was coming out of high school. Now coming out, On3 said he is a dynamic dual threat quarterback with over 40 touchdowns in 2025. He's a Harlan Hill finalist and has proven that he deserves the highly touted 4-star rating he got coming out of high school. He has put himself on NFL maps as it is, and he has a good year or two at the P4 level. Could absolutely push himself in the first or second round territory. He does have that kind of arm talent. Excuse me. I don't know where these hiccups came from. So, obviously this is an athletic article that's, I'll answer a question from Drumwolf, who's in here every day. Drumwolf, I think this article is what I like to here's how I view it. It's another data point on the spreadsheet of how many times has a quarterback been mentioned with West Virginia in it, right? And this is at least the third time, 3 separate articles that I've seen. I have heard his name from the agency that represents him as well. So that's 4 different places that say there's been contact. There's no way to know when they're predicting the starting quarterbacks. Probably just they're probably guessing at some of it, because the likelihood that he's the quarterback West Virginia goes with, it's to be determined, right? But I do think that there is obviously mutual interest, right? That's what we're talking about here. So no, I'm not going to sit here and predict personally that he's going to be our starting quarterback this coming season. Scotty would have something to say about that too, but I do think that he continues to get brought up, with West Virginia for some reason, whether that's by happenstance or people are hearing things. I don't know. I just know that whenever I spoke to people yesterday, he was a name that was brought up, but I didn't bring it up because it had already been mentioned. And then this article was released. I don't know if it was today or yesterday. I actually didn't look at the date on it, but The Athletic does pretty good work. It was released in the New York Times. So you can kind of judge for yourself on it. I don't know, guy. I just thought it was a good topic to go on for Christmas. We have other things to talk about as well. Like I said, our recruiting class, you guys know I'm going to break down some tape on some guys we haven't talked about yet. So we're going to do that too. But let's go ahead and look at Marcus Stokes really quick. Obviously, I think, he is an extraordinarily talented guy and shows it on the field. So there's a great throw from him against Valdosta State. Here's him in that dual threat role, and you can see he's got plenty of athletic ability. I'll tell you who he reminds me of too is Connor Wegman from Houston. So he's got a lot of that to his game too. As you can see, he's got breakaway speed, probably about like Garrett Green potentially. But he's got a much better arm, and that's a beautiful throw there. Love that throw. I love his confidence when he throws the ball. I love how his hand and arm angles look when he throws the ball. And I mean, look at that throw right there he just made. I mean, that's a 70-yard ball, it looked like. I have to go back and look, but it looked like 60 in the air. This dude's got a cannon for an arm. And in my opinion, when you get a guy for Rich Rod's offense, two things need to be, hopefully, he needs to be able to do two things. Or two of three things, I should say. He either needs to be a guy like Jarrett Dagey that can, hit 15, 20 yards down the field. But he has to be mobile. But like I'm using Dagey as an example because Dagey was pretty accurate on the 10, 15-yard throws. So he's either got to be able to do that and run the ball really well, or he's got to be able to take deep shots. I personally prefer for Rich Rod's offense, a guy like this that has a cannon for an arm that can take deep shot after deep shot after deep shot. He makes a throw here at the end of this, I think it is. It's just incredible. He's got such a great arm that, I could see. I would be very excited if this dude came to West Virginia. Let me just tell you guys, he's one of my favorites. Whenever I watch his tape, I get really excited because he's got an elite arm, right? There's a throw for you. I mean, he could really drop him in the bucket. Here's that throw again. I mean, that's just a gorgeous throw leading him towards the pylon. And then you've got the running ability too. He's got everything you need. And he was a 4-star guy coming out. I don't mean to keep beating that tree, but it's legit. So I think for me, it's like he's got all the tools you need. And the biggest thing for Rich Rod's offense, like I said, being able to take the top off of defense. And you got Cam Vaughn this year coming back. We hope he does. He said he was. So I got to take him at his word. And this guy would be absolutely perfect for Cam Vaughn. And all that. So, and him and Scotty are pretty similar players. So if one would go down, you would have a guy to step up that would be very similar. At least in my opinion, anyways, very similar to replace one another, and you could keep on rolling. So that's the hope anyways. I forgot to turn my light on. I like him a lot, guys. I really do. And we'll see what happens with him. We're going to break, though. We'll come back and talk about a couple of these recruits, man. We've got 3 on tap to talk about on this Christmas edition of Locked On West Virginia. Really talented players. We'll watch some tape right after the break. And this episode of Locked On West Virginia going to be brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. Right now with FanDuel, guys, NFL Sundays move fast. One big play, and suddenly everything does feel pretty different. And with FanDuel, it's no surprise that happens because you can place live bets as the action unfolds with every drive, momentum swing, and highlight moment. Live betting is best when the game starts to shift. A receiver gets hot, a defense tightens up, and the momentum flips after a turnover. FanDuel lets you jump into the moment. With live spreads and money lines that adjust instantly, you can bet player props and they update as guys heat up, and you can bet the next touchdown score, drive result, total, and more as it keeps you locked into every drive, snap, and possibility. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. Do it today with FanDuel, where the game moves fast, so can you. Segment 2. Let's crack open this dew. It's already cracked, but let's open this dew. So I have something to update you guys on really quick. Um, can't even believe I'm talking about this, but so I was able to get on a PR list for Mountain Dew. You know, I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but they like my content. They like my little ditty I do, segment two crack and do. They like that. Um, I'm not as big as what they usually deal with, like as far as social media personality goes, but they like my passion for Mountain Dew, I guess. And so they are going to send me some stuff, some new flavors to try for when I do my segment two thing. I got the email yesterday, so I didn't see it till today. So, but yeah, I had emailed because I see these content creators and they're like, I'm doing a PR thing today, and they're stacking up box after box after box. And so I just Googled it. How in the hell are these people getting all this PR stuff? And basically, it comes down to if you have a social profile, you can apply. I didn't know there was actually a place to legitimately apply for these things. They just roll them out, and you can apply if you cater to that audience, or if you have people that like that, then you can kind of build, explain why you think you need that, and then they'll send you promotional stuff. So I did it for Mountain Dew and got accepted. So we'll see. As far as the no offensive line, no change things, guys. I mean, they're gonna. I mean, it's well known they're going to spend heavy in the O line. It's going to happen. Like it's going to be the number one position address in the portal. So, I mean, you might as well just go ahead and assume that's going to happen because it's going to happen. I mean, I'd be willing to bet whatever dollar amount somebody wants to bet that they address it. So, even though we don't talk about it as much, it's just because I don't know who they're involved with. There's so many offensive linemen in the portal that it's so, there's only a certain 10 or 20 quarterbacks probably that they're actually tied to or watching that we can keep track of. And maybe there's a couple off the radar too that we don't know about. Yeah. But it was O linemen, and O linemen are so unique compared to quarterbacks because, there's that guy at Elon that's really good, right? That could plug and play, I do believe. But, he's 6'6", big time talent for sure, but he's from Elon. And, nobody really knows about him that much except for a couple of people. Could West Virginia snag him up, plug him in? Absolutely. Could he potentially be a really good player? Absolutely. Texas Tech, like I said, they brought up a bunch of dudes from the lower levels last year. I don't think people realize this with Texas Tech. They only had 4 or was it 5 on this year's team that are, Power 4 transfers that are contributing. Now they're all elite players, but the majority of their roster that they spent all those millions on are all group of 5 or lower. So it's definitely possible, like we said yesterday. And I think West Virginia is probably going to have to mimic that because there's no way you can afford all Power 4 guys. Maybe on the O line you can do it, but I mean, you can find guys that are really talented at any level. I still believe that. All right, let's look at our guys here, man. I picked out 3 guys that don't get enough holla from West Virginia. And you guys have heard me talk about this guy a couple times on the show, but I promised you highlights the last time because I didn't get to show them. And we're talking about Wyatt Walker Brown first, who I think is probably one of the most unheralded players in our class that nobody talks about. Everybody wants to talk about Hughley for good reason, or they want to talk about Smith for good reason. I'm not saying any of these guys are bad in regards to Brown. I'm just personally, I think as soon as Wyatt Brown gets some meat on his bones and a little bit more footwork work, just gets a little bit more polish on him, I think he's a year away from being a real problem for no matter who's in our quarterback room. This is just my personal opinion. You know what I mean? So nobody has to share it, but it's my show. So you at least have to listen to me talk about it. Wyatt Walker Brown, man, what can I say about him? I love the kid. and he did come on my show. And as you guys know, I'm partial to those guys. But, when you look at him from a frame standpoint, he's 6'3", he's 195, he's a dual threat quarterback. He played in California where there's just a ton of talent in California. He played on a team that had a ton of talent and power four guys. And he signed late with West Virginia, and he spurned UCLA. I mean, he spurned all kinds of teams in his area to come to West Virginia. He is a 3-star guy. It's not like he's terrible. 87 rated, 84 rated on 247. So, 247 doesn't think it very highly of him, I would imagine, compared to where he should be. I like the 87 or 88 for him. I don't think he's one of those guys that is a little bit because of where he played and we're in West Virginia. I do think he's just overlooked for whatever reason. But man, when you put on the tape of this kid, it's obvious from the very get-go that he is a problem for people, a big one too at that. Let's see. That's not him. So it's this one here. Okay. No, this one. Yeah, first play you see from him right here. Look at the speed. It's elite speed for a quarterback, and this kid can absolutely fly down the field. 6'3", 200 pounds. I love his long speed. I like that he's a lefty too, and Rich Rod loves those lefties. Look at this little throw here under pressure. Great throw there. He can just do it all for us. He just gets a little happy feet. But, I mean, look at these moves, guys, making people miss all over the place, running to his off shoulder, and just decides I'm going to score the football, and he does. Here's a great angle, stepping up in the pocket, moving to his left or to his right, throwing back left. And then obviously in college, that's an ill-advised throw. But it was a great play. But here's the speed again. He looks like he's on kickoff return, right? And then you see, and look, when the camera looks up here in a second, he's 20 yards ahead of everybody. Where did he go? You can't even see him in the frame. This kid is absolutely a lightning bolt. And I think he is the fastest of all the quarterbacks we brought in, perhaps. I really do. I mean, he can straight up fly, man. And he's got those, he's Pat White's size as well. So he's got those long strides that you kind of look at as well. But I mean, man, this kid, man, once he cuts it up through, I mean, look at that speed right there. This kid can super fly. He kind of reminds me of a David Sills whenever he was in trying to play quarterback when he was running around. That's what he kind of reminds me of, I wouldn't be shocked if this kid was an elite receiver if he really wanted to be. I'm not saying he can't be quarterback at all. I'm just saying he's got the wheels to be a receiver, And here he drops some dimes in at the last. I mean, that's a 50-yard bomb right in the bucket, So I really like Wyatt. I think he doesn't get anywhere near enough publicity. For whatever reason, maybe it's because of where he, like I said, California. Maybe it's because he isn't as highly rated as some other guys in the class. But, I mean, he's got the size at 6'3". He's got the frame. He's a lefty. He can absolutely fly. And then his 2 seasons in high school, 4,133 yards, 30 touchdowns, 65% completion percentage. Oh, by the way, how about rushing yards, Just incredible stuff. 970 yards, 21 scores. Incredible. So, I mean, that's 970 yards and 21 scores on the ground is elite stuff, man. If you look at some of the evaluators here, 247 Sports said he called him a cross-country commit, a surprise cross-country commit, had intrigue from other power forums in the local area, but shunned them to go to West Virginia. Utah, Arkansas, UCLA gave him late looks, and the coaches praised his family legacy at UCLA, but noted his loyalties was stuck with West Virginia. seen as a developmental prospect with an extremely high ceiling due to his athletic profile. That's how I see him too. I do think he's a year off personally, but man, after he went, by the time he's a redshirt freshman, look the hell out. Look the hell out for this kid. So I really can't wait to see what he does, man. The next, I can't. I'm so excited about him. I'm curious to know how some of you guys feel about him as well. Let me know in the comments, and let's move on to the next guy here. So, there's a couple guys, and I haven't gone over either of these guys remaining. Let's look at big Deshawn Woods, who I think he's got a chance to start, guys. I've watched a lot of his tape since yesterday. I've watched 4 games. That's how much I've liked his tape. And this highlight video does him a lot of justice. He's going to have to gain a little weight. But he's got the trigger. Well, he gets off the ball well enough. When I say trigger, I just mean explosion in a short area, whether that's tackling or hitting somebody. That's how I describe a trigger. How good is your trigger? How explosive? Like Brock Lesnar is a great example, right? Brock Lesnar is incredibly explosive. Like whenever he shoots a double leg, or whenever he does, or Kurt Angle, even when you looked at him. But like I'm fascinated with guys that are in short, closed spaces, super explosive. And this guy here, and you see it on the very first play that comes up, his explosiveness. It's incredible. So 6'5", 285, he needs to get to 310, but we'll see what happens. Obviously, he's a redshirt junior. He played in junior college, but he was at Wyoming before that. So he has Division I and junior college experience. So he's not going to come in, eyes wide like some of the other guys is. He's going to be an early enrollee. He's going to have a shot to play. He is. He's that good, and he is a very highly rated player. 4 stars by 247 Sports originally. He has been gone up and down, but I mean, he's one of the very best offensive linemen in all of JUCO. So there's no doubt that he is an incredibly talented kid. Violent hands, great punch and pass protection, really strong base, and great pad level for anchoring against rushers. And he's good in one-on-one matchups. He does not lose one-on-one matchups at all. So there's a reason West Virginia targeted him, obviously. Oh, and by the way, he creates running lanes by just redirecting defenders well, man. He really does. He's good in that redirecting thing, which is, you don't always have to be this smash mouth. Sometimes just redirecting defenders is good, right? Although I love smash mouth. I'm just saying is get the job done, however you do it. He's got versatility. I think he can play tackle or guard, and I think he has the physicality and the experience to play because of, the Wyoming and the JUCO level. And man, his footwork is really good. He stays attached to blocks very well, unlike Chemo from last year where he would punch and then just let go of a guy right in the middle of a block. It was wild to me. Obviously if you look at his overall profile, he's from Nebraska. He's a Midwestern kid, and his bounce back potential is pretty high. As far as like he's a bounce back, which D1 bounce back, right? D1 bounce backs are anybody that was D1 goes down to JUCO, so coming back up is a big deal. I think he can compete for a starting spot, compete for it. I don't know. It depends on who we bring in the portal. But I do think he's talented enough to still make some guys work for their job. So we'll see what he does. But let's check out his tape here. Is it this one? Yeah. There he is on the right side. Look at that punch right away. See it again. Watch how quickly he gets off the ball in this first play. He's on the right tackle, number 75. Watch him he's got that great get off, and then that initial punch. You see it right away. Boom. Get that guy moving. Boom. Double team. Then they can move up to the second level. Whoever number 2 is for his team has got some wheels, by the way. Number 2 is in the end zone a lot on these plays. And here he is again on the right side again. And as you can see, there's that redirection they were talking about that he does well. And then a pancake at the end for your troubles, sir. But, the great footwork to move. Here he is once again on the right side of the offensive line. And you see that great explosion that he has to move. He's so quick off the line. So he impresses over and over again, no doubt. It's hard to see him on this play, but, basically pass protection and the pancake. Great job. Great job. One more time on the right side, on the left side of your screen, and pass pro, those great feet. And you see those violent hands. Once again, on the right side again, and just stonewalling a guy, moving inside, redirecting. Right side again, which is great for him. You see those great hands again, just completely reams the dude down. This guy moves a little different. He really does. Look at the chop block. It's what the play calls for, you do what you got to do. There's another great redirect block. I love that. I love how he moves out there. It's so under control. It's so balanced. Footwork is so good. He's just got to put some weight on for West Virginia. There's another chop block, but super talented guy. We got to move on quickly. I would love to say a few more things about him, but look for him. Yeah, it was a takedown. You're right, Drumble. But I consider pancake and takedown similar things. But yeah, you're right. It was a takedown. Just look out for Deshawn, right? And did I not say his name, by the way? If I didn't, I'm sorry. His name is Deshawn Woods. So I forgot to say it. Last but not least at all, Christopher Thally, the running back that I haven't evaluated yet, that I said I would evaluate, here he is, 5'11", 175. He looks taller than he is. I thought if you'd have asked me to guess, I said he's 6'1", like watching him out there. He's man, they know how to evaluate running backs, guys. I was very pleasantly surprised. And look, there's a reason his final three was Arkansas, Georgia Tech, West Virginia. You also had Pitt, Cincinnati, and Memphis after him. He's got a 90 rating on Rivals. Really, really good rating. 247 Sports had him at an 87. So he's an 88.37. That's one of the highest in our class. So, he is nationally known as an elite guy. He has elite speed and acceleration, and his sudden change of direction, oh my God, without losing momentum is insane. He's got some breakaway ability in open space. He's got good contact balance for his size. Man, these guys know how to recruit running backs. 1,600 yards and 18 touchdowns last year. And he ran a 10.8 in the 100 meters, guys. He runs a 21.97 in the 200, which just underscores that really good speed. If you look at the SI scouting report, it says this, quoting, speed, 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 and more speed. And what is impressive about Christopher Thally? The speed. It's how he can make a sudden change in direction and not show any signs of deceleration. The key for defenses is going to be to funnel him inside the tackles where they can clog up his running lanes, because once he gets outside, he's a horse in open space, and it's game over. He wasn't heavily involved in the pass game. It's a little tough to judge how well he catches it. Assuming he's capable, as most backs are, he can be a real weapon in the screen and underneath game. Despite his size, he does have good contact balance. It's not easy as laying his shoulder into him. As he's going to be on the ground, he will stay up. Not a power back by any means, but he can rip through some tackles thanks to his speed. I agree. He is a really impressive athlete. Let's get to the tape, and then we got to rush out of here. I really like Thally. I feel bad that I haven't evaluated him yet. And on this first play, you see it right away, the speed. Breaks out of the huddle somehow, and then he just gets on his horse and gone, sir. Gone Goslin, as my dad used to say. He's a gone Goslin. And then you see him get to the outside. Nice stiff arm. Nice break to the inside. He does run through about 2 tackles there. And then he just jogs his way to the end zone from there. He's got a couple of jaw droppers on this play here. This one here, jaw dropper. Watch the cut inside, and gone. This isn't the jaw dropper I thought it was, but he's got one here. It's a jaw dropper here in a second. Might be this one. Float, yeah, there it is. Beautiful change of direction, man. And then back inside again. Come on. And then takes a guy on with his shoulder at the very end. And I think he does a similar thing on this play. Yeah, he does. Look at the jumping around. Looking like Barry Sanders out there. Look at that play. Come on, boys. Do you love the Mountaineers? You got love for the Mountaineers? How about this player here? Great move to the inside, to the right tackle side. I mean, this kid's good. We've got 3 so insanely talented running backs coming in. I mean, I'm dead serious. All 3 of these guys are going to be good. I don't know what we're going to do about it. I mean, it's a good problem to have. But I could honestly see if we just had one guy with experience, I'm good at running back. I think our freshmen running backs are good enough to handle the load. But we learned last year, you better have more than 3. We're lucky we had more than 3, especially in Rich Rod's offense, as much as we run it. So, they'll probably need to go out and get 2 guys to be safe. You're going to keep Sincere Bowers, and he'll be the elder statesman in the room. That's crazy. He's got maybe 100 carries in his career. But, Thally's a guy that, Sir Paul Cheeks is going to be injured, and so Tally's going to have a chance to start out ahead of him. And I tell you what, that's a close battle between those 2. Sir Paul Cheeks it's really hard to judge them between each other. It really truly is. Like, there are things about Sir Paul Cheeks that I love too. Sir Paul Cheeks is smaller. They're similar speed. I mean, it's like neck and neck with the speed. Now, neither one of them are Amari, in my opinion, because Amari is just a physical specimen. Maybe Amari is a step slower than Thally. It's hard. Honestly, I don't know. I think Amari is right there with him on that too, though. But bottom line is we've got 3 incredible running backs coming in the freshman class that, man, Larry Porter did a really good job recruiting these running backs, guys. There's a reason we didn't keep him more than 1 season. And I worry about Auburn going forward because all 3 of these guys are going to be guys that Larry Porter has relationships with. Oh, man. Hopefully they don't get them poached in one of these days. But, I could see all 3 of them playing well for us this year. Depends on how quick they pick it up. But, man, those 3 freshman running backs are all going to be so good. I should do a show on just the running backs, and show the, just back to back to back, show the tape on them because it's impressive for sure. Yeah, we lost Jet Walker from Texas to Texas. You know what's crazy is Jet Walker would probably, man, I'm not trying to hate on Jet Walker at all. He's a similar level as these guys, but he ain't better than Amari for sure. He is not a better than give me Amari Latimer over Jet Walker every day of the week, and I mean that. There's a reason we were down. It was us, Ohio State, and Miami for Amari at the very end, right? So Jet's talented though. Like I think he would have had a better shot at Minnesota or West Virginia for sure. Much more physical runner than the other 2 that we just talked about. Now Amari, different story. But I don't think anybody that we bring, it's going to be hard to bring somebody in. It's going to be Amari out, in my opinion. Amari's a whole new level of, he's just so good. But all these guys are. I think Sir Paul Cheeks will probably be a little bit late. He might even have to redshirt before we see him, which sucks because he's got a lot of ability. But with that blown out knee, it is what it is. Don't you love talking West Virginia football on Christmas? I mean, what could be better? Thank you guys so much for joining with me here to do it. Wasn't expecting such a big turnout, but I'm always happy to have it. You guys are great. Like, I mean, I really believe you guys are the best. If you're still here and your wife or your kid, if you could do me a Christmas favor, honestly, for Christmas, if you could do me a favor, and I'm asking, if you have a kid or a wife or anybody like that that hasn't subscribed to the channel, we are like, let me see how far we are away. We are at we're 6,900 or 6,954 subscribers. So we are 46 away from 7,000. So if you could, just have some of your people hit that subscribe button. Try to get us to 7K if you can. And that's all I got, guys. I got to run. I got to get ready and go to the family thing. Man, I spent a lot of money on gifts this year. A lot, probably $1,000. I'm excited to watch them open them. My mom and everybody tells me I'm overdoing it because I guess I feel like it's a weird feeling, but because I wasn't able to be there for so many years because of my dumb mistakes. For those of you who don't know that, I'm in recovery. So there was a time where I just obviously was living selfishly on the streets and everywhere else. And now that I'm doing a lot better, I think I have this guilt, like I have to make up for things. And so, like, I was trying to buy PS5s and I was trying to do everything for him this year, and nobody would let me. I've learned a lesson. Like, you don't want to outdo the parents for their own kid, or you don't want to outdo the grandparents for the grandkids. So, I just do for the kids all year long. Anytime they ever ask me for anything, I just get it for them. I'm that uncle. I am. I would give them every dollar in my bank account if they asked me for it, and I wouldn't even have 1% of an issue. I'm serious. Gift giving is a big love language of mine, though. All right, guys. I've talked long enough. We've gone long on this one again. I'm gonna have to really go lower 20s on the next few videos. I've gone way over 3 videos in a row. I got to be better than that. But I appreciate the support, guys. And we will see you on the next one here on Locked On West Virginia. We'll talk. We'll probably be back later today. I don't know. It depends on how things go at Christmas. But plan is to do another video here later today. If not, we'll be back tomorrow. Until then, guys, keep country roads.